Number 1.
I was all alone in the house. The only sound was the ticking of the clock in the hallway. I'd been lying in bed for hours, but I also couldn't sleep. I was too scared. I didn't know what was outside the window or what was hiding in the shadows, but I was sure that something was going to come get me. I tried to keep my mind off the things that were scaring me, but it was hard. Every time I heard a noise, I would jump and scream. I was so scared that I was starting to feel sick. I was just about to give up and go downstairs when I heard a noise in the hallway. I froze, trying to listen. There it was again. It sounded like someone walking around the house. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to be alone in the dark, but I was too scared to go downstairs. I was trapped. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. I could hear them clearly now. I was sure that someone was going to come get me. And just as I was about to scream, I heard a voice. It was my mom. She was just checking on me. I was so relieved that I started to cry. I was so scared that I had actually thought that someone was trying to kill me. But the fear didn't go away. The memories of what had happened earlier that night were still fresh in my mind. I knew that something was out there, waiting to get me. And I was never going to be able to sleep again.
Number 2.
The darkness was complete. Not a single ray of light shone through the cracks in the door, nor did it peek in from the bottom of the window. The only light in the room, that which came from the television, and even that was slowly being snuffed out by the night. The girl in the bed shifted uncomfortably, trying to get comfortable in the suffocating darkness. She had been trying to sleep for hours, but her mind was too active for her to rest. Every time she would start to drift off, a new fear would wake her up again. She tried to focus on the images on the TV, but even they were starting to become distorted. The darkness was starting to take on a life of its own, and it was creeping closer and closer to her bed. The girl started to scream, but no sound came out. She tried to get up, but her body was paralyzed by fear. The darkness was now completely engulfing her, and she could feel something cold and slimy wrapping around her. She was being dragged down into the darkness, and there was nothing she could do to stop it.
Number 3.
I was lying in bed, trying to get to sleep. I had just turned off the light and was about to close my eyes when I heard a noise. I froze, trying to figure out what it was. I heard it again and realized it was someone knocking on my window, but no one was there. And just as I was about to go back to sleep, I heard the knock again. This time, I could see someone looking right at me. I screamed and ran back to bed. I was so scared that I couldn't sleep the rest of the night.
Number 4.
The woman in the yellow coat was always there, but she was never seen. No one knew who she was, but they all knew what she meant. She was a harbinger of death. She always appeared in the same yellow coat, walking through the streets of the town like she owned them. Everyone knew that when they saw her, it meant that someone was going to die. One day, she appeared in the town square, and everyone ran. They knew that she was there to take someone's life. But the woman in the yellow coat never took anyone's life. She just stood there in the middle of the square until she disappeared. People began to wonder what she was doing there. They began to ask themselves if she really was a harbinger of death, or if she was something else entirely.
Number 5.
The city that never sleeps is always alive with a buzz of energy. Even in the dark of the night, the streets are always crowded with people going about their business. But there's something different about the city tonight. The air is thick with a sense of dread, like something bad is about to happen. You can feel it in the way People are walking quickly with their heads down. They know something is wrong, but they don't know what it is, and you can't help but to feel it too. It's like a cold weight in your stomach. You turn a corner and see it, a massive wall of flames licking up to the sky. The heat is so intense that you have to take a step back. This is it, the end of New York. You try to run, but it's too late. The ground shakes as buildings collapse, burying you beneath the rubble. You can hear the screams of the people as they're engulfed in flames. And then, there's only silence. The darkness is complete, and you know you're going to die.
Number 6.
When I was 16, my family moved into a new house. We were excited to finally be in a place of our own, but I couldn't help feeling a little uneasy about the whole thing. The previous residents had died in the house. It was only after we had moved in that I realized why. The place was haunted. I could feel the presence of the dead all around me. And the thing was, the ghosts were angry. They didn't want us there. They started to haunt me. I would see them in the corner of my eye or feel their cold touch in the night. Sometimes they would even make themselves heard, moaning and whispering in the dark. I was scared all the time. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was a wreck. And the worst part was, my parents didn't believe me. They thought I was just being dramatic. But I knew the ghosts were real. I could feel them. And one day, they were going to get me.